in the communication about the echo technique, where you're giving someone back their exact words in the exact order and sequence that came out of their mouth, rather than reflective listening. You're telling them exactly what they just said. Now, you can mix your own words and stuff in the middle there, but it's basically their words in their language, so they don't have to decode it. But since you missed it, and if tell me what you would like to learn today about all that.
Yeah, about all that. Some of those words I don't know, and now I see why you and April are together. Because you're a deep down nerd.
I am. No, you can't tell from the rugged good looks and the hard exterior, but I am a genuine nerd.
Yeah, I guess mine would be the communication part.
Okay.
Of it. Dealing with, of course, the opposite sex, but also going into the real estate business and dealing with people that are, for me, the heart that, like, I have a lot of empathy. So I will be able to understand someone who has to give up their house because of a death, or can't afford to make their payments, or blah, 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 blah. I guess mine would be my communication to hear someone that may be kind of a harder sell to deal with. So I guess communication would be the main thing. I guess dealing with more difficult people, so that I don't resort to calling them a punk bitch and be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. And I can, be like, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So so I understand that you want communication skills to be able to deal with people and such. But I want to back up, because it's more than just what you say in the moment. Communication, what you say in the moment, the exact words, are about 7% of all communication. The other 93% is all tonality and body language. The way that it's pre-conscious communication. It's something that you see, you pick up on it. Your brain makes a snap decision based on those things that all affect the way that the words come out. So I don't know where, as far as the schools you went to, but when I was in school, if you had a 100-question test and you got 7 of them right and the other 93 wrong, that's an F. But conversely, if you got 93 of them right and you only missed 7, that's still really good. So if I can give you a way to communicate with people of the opposite sex, or there might be a hard sell, that was 93% accurate, would that be beneficial?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, let's start inside. Okay. Let's start with the metaframe.
Okay.
Because the metaframe, what that does is, when you create a mental picture of how you want that particular event to go, that particular meeting, that date, that sales meeting, whatever, you create that frame and you put a lot of good emotion into it, it activates the thalamus to tweak your perceptual filters. And it says, now I need to start looking for opportunities to make this mental movie a reality, because it's important. I'm thinking about it constantly. I'm putting a lot of emotion into it. It's got to be important to me. Let me make it real. So it's going to start searching for opportunities. Where can I make this real? Where can I make this happen? And all that stuff goes on in the background because of the metaframe. It's not something that consciously happens. When I created the metaframe several years ago, that people love giving me money. because I make them feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that into the restaurant. I saw my tips go from 15, 20% to 30 to 50 to 60, on excess of 100% sometimes
Mm-hmm.
of the actual bill, because I was generating a frame that said, I'm going to make these people feel really, really good. And as a result of that, they're going to tip me better. And what happens is it's a vibrational phenomenon that causes everyone within an 8-foot radius of you to fall into that frame. If you go on YouTube and you search up the metronome synchronization,
Mm-hmm.
you can see as many as 64 metronomes, all started at different times, get into sync within about 3 or 4 minutes. And they all fall into line with one another. And it's like I said, it's a vibrational phenomenon that happens in physics, that everything that vibrates will vibrate in sync.
Mm-hmm.
So when you create that frame and you create that mental picture, you send out a vibration that everyone around you has to either fall into that frame or they have to leave. They cannot not vibrate in sync with you
Mm-hmm.
in that same area. See, our thoughts send out waves. Those waves are vibrations. You get vibes from people, you give vibes out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've been into a situation where you said, I just don't feel good about something, doesn't feel right or feel good. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really know how to express it. That's your paleocortex picking up on those vibrations, because the paleocortex doesn't have any concept for language or capacity for language. It can only put out a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That goes through the limbic system and gets into the neocortex, and we can only say it just doesn't feel right. That's the only way we know to explain it. If you want to get the science behind this, you can go to heartmath.org and look at that. There's a ton of stuff. There's an 8-foot bioelectromagnetic field that comes out from every human being with a beating heart. And that bioelectromagnetic field is where we pick up vibrations and give out vibrations. That's where that frame is activated.
Okay.
So once, like I said, once you create that frame that this date is going to go this particular way, or this sales meeting is going to go this particular way, it generates within you a behavior that says, I have to make that happen. So I'm going to start accommodating and adjusting things to make that happen with this person.
Mm-hmm.
So even the things that you say and the communication part of it will come naturally because the frame's already installed. It's already in place.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So once you take that frame and you go out into those situations and you take the communication, the echo technique, and you ask somebody why it's important to them to get that house sold, or why is it important to them to buy this house, or why is it important to whatever. Nail down their values, and then when you are describing this house or the reason they should buy or the reason they should date you or the reason they shouldn't date you or whatever, you give them their words in that exact order and sequence as they gave it to you. They don't have to decode it. They don't have to think about it. They say, this person gets me. They understand me. And that giving it back in the exact order and sequence, that echo technique, is so much more effective than reflective listening. I mean, if I could put it on a scale, I'd say it's got to be 100 times more effective than reflective listening,
Mm-hmm.
as far as building rapport with the other person and building that connection. And what I talked about a little bit last time is tapping into those passions and stuff. When you can find out why something is important to someone and give them those reasons as the reasons that they should do what you're asking them to do, that echo technique will get exactly what you want every single time.
That could work.
It works like gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely does.
So you mentioned 3 things: Metaframe, echo technique, reflective listening. Can you break those down into simple day-to-day conversations, something that we can take away right now and use in the next 10 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. You take a metaframe that, in the next 10 minutes, you take this time to build a picture of how you want your ideal XYZ to go. The next big meeting that you have, the next big thing that you have coming up, take a few minutes and process that metaframe and review that 100 times over at the speed of thought. Close your eyes, build a great big picture of the perfect outcome, exactly the way you want it. And you replay that over and over, that whole situation from greeting to ending, going exactly the way you want it, being exactly perfect every single time. And the more good emotion you pour into it, the more your thalamus is going to start activating to make that happen.
Okay, that's super clear. Yeah, okay. I'm taking notes.
Good.
Me too. Okay.
That's what nerds do. Take notes.
Say that again?
Because that's what nerds do, they take notes.
Yeah, it's also the nerds who run the multi-billion-dollar companies and make lots of money too. So, I guess it's not a bad thing being a nerd, especially with a nerd with 3 businesses.
So that's Metaframes. What exactly is the echo technique and how could I use it right now?
The echo technique exactly is giving the person's words back to them in the exact order and phrase that came out of their mouth. So the way you can use that right now is in your communication when you want to build rapport with someone, deepen that connection with someone. Like I mentioned a little bit last week, when you go from occasion location, and Justine, I can send you the notes on that too if you want. Just message me after this.
Okay.
But you go from occasion location into their career passion, and you ask questions about what they're doing and why they like to do it. Those elicit their values and their passions, and those things they cannot talk about without feeling good about. So when you describe your work or your in the meeting, Justine, for example, you gave the example of real estate and why they, someone might be a hard sell, and you ask them why they want to sell. They say, well, I want to sell because the house is getting too big for us, and we want something smaller and something easier to manage. And you tell them, well, okay, I understand that you guys want to sell because the house is getting too big for you and you want something smaller, and this one's easier to manage. This might be the perfect house for you.
Right. So they understand it. You heard them, and then they hear the exact same words back that they used on them that they used. So
Right.
It's familiar to them also.
Right, exactly. They don't have to decode it. They don't have to wonder what you meant by that.
Right. Okay.
So they understand exactly what that you heard them. That feeling of understanding is what builds the connection. That's what releases the oxytocin to deepen the trust.
It's almost like the metaframe is you're writing your script, and the echo technique is you're rehearsing your lines and saying them out loud.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
The echo technique or the metaframes are more than just writing the script too. They're the entire final production blown up on the big screen for everyone to.
Yeah. Yeah, the metaframe is the final product of the script.
Right.
The script that's on stage or on film. Right.
Because you have to know where you're going before you can get in the car and go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The metaframe gives you a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
So the metaframe gives you the roadmap, and the echo technique gives you the language to get there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you're missing is the body language and the tonality to be able to make that 100%. You've got the end and you've got the beginning. All you need now is the middle.
Mm-hmm. That may be where I may fall off at times.
In the middle part?
The middle part, yeah, my tonality, baby.
Well, next week I will teach you all about the middle part. We'll get into the body language, the tonality, and how that connection works.
Now, next week I'll be in Florida at a funeral, though.
Okay.
I'll be in Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte. That's not too far from me.
Yeah, I'll be in Port Charlotte.
Should bring April with.
Let's roll. Yeah, so I'll miss that one.
That's all right. We'll have that. We'll have a replay available too.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It's on the website.
Okay, good.
So what are we going to cover specifically today?
Say again?
What are we going to cover specifically today?
We did.
Oh, that's it. Holy moly.
I gave the metaframes and I gave you the echo technique.
Yes.
Okay.
That metaframe, I'm telling you, it's the ability to frame and to put that out. That's nuclear power. I mean, that's beyond superpower. Mm-hmm. That will help you more than anything else that I can give you. Well, that'll help you more than anything else I can give you in a 20-minute video class.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So the full course is going to be available within the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I know you're going to miss next week, but after that, if you want to take part in the course, that'll be available, and I'll make the links available on my site as well.
Okay. Okay.
Deal. Any other questions?
No, I think I kind of understand it. I think it's the creating the metaframe and staying the course.
The staying the course part, you won't have to worry about as much, because the more you keep the metaframe there in the forefront, the more it will activate the thalamus. The thalamus dictates perception and behavior. It's like a two-way street. So when you create that metaframe, it tweaks your perceptual filters, and the information that comes in, the thalamus says, okay, I need to direct this to different things because I'm getting this stimuli. So this behavior needs to happen in accordance with this stimuli, the things that are going on in my environment. Mm-hmm. So specifically, like with the date thing, if you create the metaframe that the date's going to go really well and that this guy's really going to like you, he'll fall into that frame. Your behavior will be dictated by that frame more so than your conscious efforts. Now, obviously, your conscious efforts are going to override your subconscious efforts when it comes to behavior, but it's going to be driven subconsciously. The more you invest in that frame, the more the thalamus is going to dictate behavior.
Now, how did you use the meta frame at the restaurant? What was the end picture for you?
The end picture for me was them getting up to leave, giving me a handshake or a hug, saying thank you so much. I really enjoyed my time here. More like family would do when they leave after having dinner at your house,
Mm-hmm.
rather than me just giving them a check.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
That's brilliant.
That is, I've never thought about it like that.
That's
brilliant. I was in customer service for 23, 24 years before transitioning to coaching. And one of the things that I was reading Danny Meyer, and he's won, over the last 30 years, he's won 28 James Beard Awards for customer service. He's got the Union Square Cafe and Gramercy Tavern and the Steak Shack, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Shake Shack, whatever it is. Anyway, he's exceptional on customer service, and I followed him, and he talks about hospitality and the way you deliver your service being, the way you make the customer feel rather than doing what you say you would do. It's how you make them feel about it. So that was a big thing in developing my frame.
Okay.
Was how I made them feel about it, and like I said, that the behavior took care of itself.
Yeah.
The frame took care of the behavior, I should say. But yeah, that generated everything that I needed to be able to present them with an exceptional experience that they would just naturally go out and talk about with their friends. And man, I had the best dinner over at such and such a place the other night. It was great. You should go try it.
Right. But you know who else kind of falls in that category? I don't even eat meat, but when I did eat meat and I would go to Chick-fil-A, I never had one bad experience there. Like, even with the long wait, everybody's like, hey, how are you? Oh yeah, you want this, blah, blah, blah. Everybody. It's like from the beginning, and like they even managed to, like, if it's a long line in New York, that they would go out and get your order with their little electric thing while you're in line. So you could just, everything was about, we're going to get you in and we're going to get you out with a smile.
Mm-hmm. When you say thank you, they always say my pleasure. They never say you're welcome. They always say my pleasure. Right.
And you know what's interesting in the news, they're very hard on them about, them saying they're against homosexuality, Chick-fil-A. But yet all of their employees in New York are gay and flaming. So it goes against everything that they're saying.
Like the black church. It's just like the black church.
Huh?
It's just like the black church.
Yeah.
Homosexuality is terrible. Now everybody in the audience though is a homosexual. I was like, it's either a woman or a gay man. And they're tied to keeping the church doors open and running the choir and running the youth group and running it. But homosexuality is bad.
Right. But Chick-fil-A has never said, oh, we're going to do this. They just said, oh, well, we're against it and we're closed on Sundays and we believe in this and this and this and this. But they never said, oh, everybody's damned for hell. They just said we're against it, and that's their right if they want to be. But what's so interesting is that everybody in one particular store that has the best customer service. Oh, Lordy.
I have a question.
Yes.
So there's this crazy meme. I think I shared it with you. This woman posted, and it's a meme of a black woman in her wedding dress holding a bouquet of flowers. And at the top of it, it says, this is how every black woman over 40 shows up on her first date.
That's a lie.
That's what?
That's a lie.
Actually, no. For me, that is true. Every time with online dating, I was looking for someone who was husband material. I had read all the books. I knew how to screen people. I came in with the death-defying extensions down my back because that's what men like. I had the dress with just enough cleavage to make you hold your breath, but so you could still think. I would listen. I came in looking like the perfect wife. And then as I listened to him, I would then assert, oh, I was already at, yeah, we could have kids and maybe he would like to live in Jersey. Could I live in Jersey with this guy? But maybe that would be okay. Like I had planned it all out so much that I wasn't present in the relationship as it was because I was prioritizing, I want to be married. I want to be married. I want to be married. So in my mind, I was showing up at every date with the wedding dress and the pregnancy test and the thermometer to make sure I was ovulating at the right time so I could determine when I could have sex with this person and have a baby and get married. Like I was not present in it. And that's why I found that meme so interesting and women kind of snickered, but we do. We put so much pressure on the date. You know, we and the chase and the, how can you stop doing that? Because it totally fucks up the communication. You're getting to know someone. You don't pay attention to red flags. You don't, you know, the other side of that is you just come up to, you just show up at dates, which is the other way, which is all men suck. They all cheat. They all got baby mamas. Fuck them. It's not going to work out. Maybe I should just go get a slice of pizza with him anyway. It's free. See, those are two metaframes that destroyed me for years. And I'm not alone. Tons of women showed up with this agenda.
Yeah.
Like, so,
and I will say this, having that agenda and saying, you know, yes, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, being clear on those things, even though that particular date may not go well, it probably doesn't go well because that guy doesn't measure up to those things.
Right.
And all of those things that you say you want are not in that person. So it's not a bad thing that the date doesn't go well. It's a good thing because an extended relationship with a person that's not your person is not good for you either. In fact, it's better to be alone and single than it is to be with the wrong person.
And you know what I was just thinking when you said that? Because of the meta frame that you have set up in your mind of how it's going to go. Well, not the meta frame, because we weren't using the meta frame. But
well,
the idea,
you were, but you didn't know that's what it was. That's what it was called.
Yeah. It's that mine was I didn't have one. So I was just doing it to do it. And then if they pissed me off, then I was like, oh, whatever.
Right.
I didn't have one at all.
Yeah, and the thing I found about that is when you don't have one, it's all the subconscious programming from 0 to 7 that comes up and runs the show.
Right.
So it's all the life beliefs that you had installed back when you didn't even know better. From 0 to 7 in those formative years, that's where we get all of our limiting beliefs and all of that stuff comes from back there. When you think about what do I believe, you know, about X, Y, or Z, if you ask somebody what do they believe, they'll usually look up and to the left or up and to the right. But they're looking up because that's where those voices were when we were age 0 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of that stuff comes from.
Wow.
And when we don't have that meta frame in place to say, this is how I'm intentionally wanting the thing to go, all that stuff in the background that comes up and says, this is how it's going to go, whether you want it or not.
Whoa.
Because if I go out on a date for the first time, I don't say, this is how I want this to go. I say to myself, let me see if he makes any mistakes. That's it. Like, let me see what mistakes he's going to make.
Right.
And if he doesn't make these first date mistakes, we can move on. If he doesn't, like if he treats me like a lady and he doesn't try to put his tongue down my throat and get in my pants on the first date, and he opens my car door, if we're on the train, he gets up for an older lady, woo, we can go on to the second date. If he does any of those things, oh, forget it. Right. He's not a man. He's a punk bitch.
and deserves to be called such.
Right. I swear, I think like that. Like if I'm thinking, okay, so we're driving back to my place. Let me see if I'm going to get up and put my key in the door. Let me see if he's gone. He's a punk bitch. He'll never date me again. Like I go by the steps that we take, and then I think of it in that moment. So if we're going to meet somewhere, my meta frame is for let's just say my meta frame is for that moment. He's late. Boom. Okay. The next one. Okay. Did he, is he looking at his phone while we're talking at dinner? So then that's my next one. Okay. So now we're at dinner. What's my meta frame for this? Oh, is he looking at his phone? Boom. X. Go on to the next thing. Whether it's good or bad, whether he didn't look at his phone, whether he communicated, I don't think of it as a whole picture. I think of it as each step we take in that first date. You understand what I'm saying? Then I go, okay, let's see how this is going to pan out.
Right. I understand.
Instead of thinking of it as a whole big picture that this date is going to go well, I go by each step that we take, how he's going to act in this situation.
Right. That step-by-step process that you're taking is your checklist.
Yeah.
That's your values and criteria that that you're using to check off whether or not that person matches this meta frame that you have.
Yeah. So subconsciously, I do have a meta frame, but
well, maybe not a meta frame, but you have values in a checklist.
Yeah.
Every person has that. That's how we determine what's good and right. Like you mentioned, does he open the door for you? Does he get up for an older lady on the train? Is he,
right.
Is he looking at his phone? All those things are value markers saying how interested is he in me?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or is he more interested in the other things that are going on in the world? Is he more selfish, or is he more sacrificial? That's all part of the checklist.
Mm-hmm.
But the meta frame can, I don't know if I'd say alter the checklist, but it will definitely alter the reactions to the checklist. So when those things aren't checked off, you might not call him a punk bitch. You just might not call him.
Right. Alter the reaction.
Right. But that's the reactions are determined more by the meta frame than the checklist is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Checklist, it's perfectly healthy to have a checklist that you write out or that you talk about with someone else, you bounce ideas off of. That's totally healthy to have that. That meta frame thing is yours. That's yours.
Okay.
You keep that in. I mean, you can talk about it if you want to, or you can talk about the way you want it to go. But I would do so with people that you trust.
Right. And can your meta frame be, if it's a first date, does your meta frame have to be, okay, this is the end result of this relationship, or just for that date? Like this date is going to go well, and we're going to have a great time, and he's going to do all these things, and he's going to get a second date because it was so well.
Yes.
Instead of saying, I'm going to get married to this dude.
Yes. All of the above. All of the above.
Okay.
You can have, that's the beautiful thing about thought, is you have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that are important are the ones that you act on. And those are the ones that you can keep in the forefront and they'll act as filters perceptually to tweak things, like I said, on the pre-conscious level. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can have an end result meta frame, and you can have a first date meta frame, and that first date meta frame might lead to the end result, and it might not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, it will eventually, but it just depends on which first dates you have to go through.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The more you keep that one in mind on the end goal, the more the other ones will take care of themselves as well. Okay. But yeah, having one for the first date, totally good. trying to get Justine's picture bigger so I can see her face. But
maybe if sometimes if you talk, it goes to that.
me about some of the, what's more important for you, the dating aspect or the sales business aspect?
The sales.
Sales?
Yeah. Because it's generating an income.
Okay. Generating an income for you, is that, why is that important to you?
Because the things that I want in life cost money. So I want to travel. I don't want to have to work for someone else anymore. And I want to be able to write when I want to write. I want to be able to go do shows when I want to go do shows and not be worried about finances. And in real estate investing and even in the t-shirt apparel business, if that generates a monthly income for me, then that is what is more important right now. Because I find that like when I went to Morocco, I felt that I was a different person. And I think I need to do that more often. And to be able to just get away, it really makes me different. It calms me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some self-care needs there that aren't being met. And that, yeah, I can see that. You and I have the same line here on the chin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can't see mine because of my soul patch and my beard, but yeah, we have the same line here on our chin. That line is that's called a retirement event. It comes around age, yeah, this right here is around age 70 on the Chinese calendar for faces.
Mm-hmm.
Where those marks are, and where those lines show up is where the event is likely to take place. And just above the chin here is right about age 70.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those lines that come from not getting the care that we need. Not taking care of ourselves, so we need to. That's why the things like going to Morocco and writing and doing shows when you want to are so important to you, because they are your way of caring for yourself.
Yep. You're right.
That kind of thing can happen on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
One of the neat things about the brain is that it doesn't understand tense. It doesn't know if you're thinking of a memory or experiencing a thing or thinking of the future. It only understands the stimuli that it's receiving.
Mm-hmm.
The same parts of the brain that feel physical warmth also process emotional warmth. So all of the stimuli that we give the brain, whether it's external from life around us or internal from memories or imaginations, affect the way we feel. So doing things like writing every day, or even remembering the good times that you had in Morocco, or thinking about the great times that you will have next time you go to Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things trigger the same emotions in the body.
Mm-hmm.
They all trigger the same response. So you can do those things for 15, 20 minutes, an hour a day, 2 hours a day, whatever time you have in the beginning and the end of the day, to still be able to care for yourself, and that line will unpack. It'll go away.
Okay.
Once you deal with the emotional traumas, the lines go away. I can't, it's kind of hard to tell because of the size of the picture, but yeah, do you deal with physical pain?
No, not really. I know my ankles have been hurting, and I just attributed that because I've been cleaning a new place, like from like old school Justine cleaning, like hardcore scrub down.
That's your left side?
I use both hands. I write with my left, but I clean and scrub and write down with my right. But I'm left-handed.
Which ankle?
My right.
Your right ankle? Okay. Okay. I'm looking under the eyes. But usually physical pain will generate from the outer campus inward. I mean, from the outer eye inward. But like I said, it's kind of hard to tell because of the size of the picture, but it looks like you have some faint lines there. They aren't, it's not bad. It's just it's an indicator of physical pain. So I was curious if that was something that you lived with or if it was chronic or just every once in a while.
No, actually the past 2 days, my ankle has really been bothering me. And I know that it was just because I've been like climbing on the kitchen, top of the kitchen sink so I could get up top of those cabinets and scrub. And then I'm on the third floor, so I've been up and down the steps. And like yesterday, I was like, you know what? I have to take like a 2-hour break to elevate my ankle before I started cleaning again.
Is that a recurring thing? I mean, is the ankle, when did that start?
It just started this whole weekend. I mean, not weekend, but this whole week with me cleaning this place.
Why are you cleaning, if you don't mind my asking?
It's a new place.
General spring cleaning?
It's a new place. I just moved in.
That's right. April told me that.
Yeah.
Place. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Interesting. Let me look at a few things and get back to you on the ankle part of it.
Okay.
Because the fact that it's on your right side rather than the left is a little unusual for me.
Okay.
There's a logical explanation for it. I just need to research my stuff and see what it is.
Okay.
If it was left side, I could tell you, yeah, that's because you don't feel emotionally supported. I know that pain. I've had that one several times in my left hip. But yeah, that's that one. But the right side, I'll have to research.
Yeah. And it was swollen last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know anytime there's swelling, that's the buildup of fluid there is to protect the joint.
Yeah.
But usually with things outside of injury, with pains and such that just pop up, there's an emotional trauma that the subconscious stores in that location, and that's something that needs to be dealt with. You can access that by it's not trance per se as far as like hypnosis goes. It's just absorption and focus in the exercise, but closing your eyes, thinking of touching that spot, and the first image that pops up in the head is the event that's related to that trauma. It could be something from childhood that you might feel like you're making it up. You might feel like it needs to be edited. It's the first thing that pops up. That's your paleocortex saying, this is the reason that pain is there. And what will happen as we go through the exercise is you might find a series of images that pop up that will have a theme that connect. That theme is tied to that first experience.
Okay.
I've had to me before about, you know, why they have trouble meeting girls or something like that, and it goes back to the first time they were in kindergarten and wanted to kiss a girl and got smacked in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And every relationship since then has been a recreation of that smack in the mouth. Just it's taken several months to manifest.
Yeah, I can see that. Get smacked in the mouth and then like go to date and they bop bop. I get that. Yeah.
So sorry, we were talking about the sales thing,
Yeah.
and generating more income. So what, out of the things that we've talked about a little bit today, what would be most beneficial for you to go in deeper with?
The Metaframe.
The Metaframe?
Yeah, because I can use the Metaframe for auditioning. I can use the Metaframe for dealing with customer service when I'm going to meet a for sale by owner person, you know, because most for sale by owners are by the person and they're not dealing with a real estate agent and I'm the one who has to go talk to them. I can use it for my, like, you know, just everyday basis, but mainly for auditioning and the sales in my real estate business.
There's a little bit of fear and trepidation there too.
Yeah, because definitely this is all brand new to me. Like being an entrepreneur has been bigger than I ever thought it would be. Like a lot of fear, a lot of chaos that I did not plan on having to deal with. But then like I find that if once you get over that hump, then it's like, okay, I took care of that. And then it's this next hump that you got to go through. And you're just like, oh my God, to be a business owner takes so much crap that you kind of don't want to do it anymore. You rather just go work for somebody else, get the check, and go do you, right? Because being a business owner is hard as fuck. I'm just going to say that. From the taxes, oh shit, that taxes for business owners for S Corporation is March 16th. Oh, I didn't know that. And so now what? So you got to put an extension in by yesterday. And then you're like, okay, so now what? Okay, so one business is an S Corp, one business is an LLC, and you're trying to keep track of all this. And then, you know, New York City is another one that's worse because to be an LLC and own your own business in New York City is crazy because they put you through a whole bunch of loops that no other state does. So you have to learn about all of that bull crap. And you really can be, it's disheartening. You really want to stop doing it. But because you invested in it, you push through. And it becomes very, very, very frustrating. And the fear is what's happening next? Or what if I put all this into owning a business and nothing happens? You know what I mean?
I know
you have to think like, you think like that. You think, okay, I invested all this money into owning my own business so I could be an entrepreneur. And then you think, well, what if something doesn't bite? That's the fear. Or the fear that you're missing something else as an entrepreneur. Oh, I forgot to do this. Because taxes will scare you, man. They're scary. It's scary. And New York doesn't make it easy, man. New York does not make it easy. Every business owner, they just go like this. If you're going to be a business owner in New York, you better do this and this and this. And you better stay up with this. And just like, okay. Because Maryland didn't ask me for all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very, very stressful. Very stressful. And that has been an ongoing thing in my butt right now, is that.
The Metaframe will definitely help you with that, because a lot of, like I said, when we think a situation's going to go a particular way, we start looking for things to make that a reality. The way that manifests in the business world is when we start thinking about all of the things that can go wrong with the business, or, you know, you invest all this money and nobody bites. All of those are tiny little metal frames that play out.
Right.
And they play out in the way that we sell, in the way that we communicate to the customer. They play out in the way that we make business decisions as far as what should I do next. When you have the meta frame that this is your baby and you're going to watch it grow and flourish and be an impact and a help to hundreds, if not millions of people, then that meta frame also plays out. That's the one that I want you to build. To build that meta frame that Justine J. Hall is the single most successful Black female entrepreneur that this United States has ever known. That she is amazing, that she makes things happen out of nothing. That she can always find a solution to any objection, problem, or issue, because there's always at least 3 solutions. Your brain can easily come up with all 3 at any given time to find out which one is best for you. If you want to, Justine, after this, we can schedule a discovery session.
Okay.
I'll work with you on that meta frame if you want.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Any other questions?
No, I mean, I got my biggest fear out. I just vented about all of that. Yeah.
Good. Feel free. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And, you know, to say that, I think I've, you know, I keep saying just do one thing at a time, But, you know, on top of that, then you get this new place that they were like, well, you better in New York, if you don't take the new place, when they tell you to take the new place, you won't have it because somebody else will be in line to get that new place.
Right.
So moving on top of tax season, on top of all the other things that you have to do to get your business up has just been like, what in the heck is going on? Like, really, like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, it's incredibly stressful. I know.
Yeah.
I just moved myself, and am probably going to be moving again here soon.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you mean.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Well, we'll wrap this up. I've got a couple of screaming youngins in there that need to do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Very informative.
Thank you. I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the discovery session.
All right. Well, I'll get the link over to you. And,
Okay.
like that